let's inspect my gear and discuss how it saved my ass in my wreck a couple of days ago. Okay, last week I told you about the wreck that I was in where I crashed into a guardrail at 27 miles an hour. This week I'm gonna go through an inspection of my gear and point out which parts of it got hit and how it might have saved me from worse injury. And then I also have the estimate back, the repair estimate on my bike. That's gonna be next week to figure out how bad the damage is for my bike. But today we're just going to do a head-to-toe inspection of my riding gear and see where it got banged up and how much worse things might have been if I weren't geared up. I'm going to start with the helmet. This is an ECE and a DOT helmet. It's not super high-end. It's just an HJC, but it did not touch at all. As I flew off the bike, I definitely tumbled and skidded, but my head didn't touch anything, so not a scuff on it. The helmet is totally fine. Now that said, the weight of the helmet definitely did torque my neck around, and I felt some soreness in the trapezius here and in the neck muscles. And so I don't know if like a neck brace would have been a better deal, or even just a lighter weight helmet, but there you go. Now, the main injury that I sustained, in fact, the main thing that I went to the hospital for, was my shoulder. It dislocated as I tumbled off the bike and pulled back in, so it's just considered a subluxation. But just inspecting the armor, there's not much the armor could do about that. It can protect from impacts and abrasion, but the mechanism of injury itself was just that my arm went out over my head. That's a natural instinct, and we'll talk about that when I get to my gloves, to put your hands out in front of you. But there wasn't much the armor could do for that. That said, there are bangs in both shoulders, and I can tell because these little REV'IT logos here, each one has a scuff carved right out of it. So both shoulders hit. Both elbows, same thing. I've got some abrasion in the elbow and the forearm. Elbows and shoulders of this jacket are both CE level 2. That's as good as you can get. Now this one is the one that really hit. This is abrasion resistant fabric, and it just burned right through. So if that had been exposed skin, that would have been, it would have been gnarly. I mean, it scuffed this snap down. There's a rubberized cover on the plastic cover on the snap. That's gone entirely. It's just down to the brass. And there's some other scuffing up here, but that would have been really gruesome without a jacket. As far as my hands, this palm slider, I talked about palm sliders when I was initially kind of reviewing this glove. This palm slider is scuffed the hell up. I definitely slid that along the ground there. And then these distortion control things that keep your pinky from getting ripped off, both of those got scuffed pretty good. And on this hand, the leather that covers the carbon on this knuckle and this knuckle both got scraped. So again, my hands were fully protected because I was in full gear. So those are the Dainese Carbon 3. I'm sure any riding glove with good sliders and knuckle protection would have worked. I have chest armor that I added, the Nucleon. I don't have any evidence that that got hit. This thing down here did get scuffed up. I've got a little video on what that is, but it works fine. Let me get this off and I'll show you what happened to the back of it. I wasn't aware of having hit my back, but you can actually see a little print where my back protector did hit, yeah, twice actually. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's this kind of texture here, these waves right there, and right here. I think that's two separate hits to my back, and those just follow the print of this CE level 2 back protector that I added. So that definitely could have hurt me much worse. Now, as far as, yeah, so that shoulder, they x-rayed my neck, shoulder, and ribs, and all of that was fine. Pants, I know that my knees got hit because I could feel some bruising. Oh, you can probably see a little bit of bruising left from my shoulder drainage here. There was some bruising on the insides of my knees, I think from glancing off the fuel tank as I went over the bike. Which reminds me, the luggage, the big steel luggage on my bike behind me created an airspace where when I glanced off that guardrail, my leg was protected from that. So there wasn't any crushing there. But I did definitely hit, I guess I can see some scuffing on both my knee, inside and outside. I'm going to switch the camera angle so you can see my legs a little better. Okay, so for the lower half, I've got you down here. There's definitely new dirt on my gear. I keep it pretty clean, and so I definitely hit across my thighs and across my hips. My hip underneath here, I'm wearing these Leatt impact pants that have CE level 2 armor in the hips and level 1s just in the quads and the tailbone. My hips still hurt after the hit, so I know it banged up this piece of plastic pretty good, but you know, no major skeletal injury. And then there's dirt all across here that definitely shows that I hit. The insides of my knees, like I said, and I can see some new scuffing on the outsides of my knees. But that said, the CE level 2 on the kneecaps and shins themselves did a pretty good job. There's definitely some abrasion on the sides here of the pants, and they're real they're real cruddy on the back, making me think my pegs hit me in the backs of the legs or something. But again, no damage. I attribute most of that to these boots. I went pretty serious on boots. This is the Alpinestars Chorus All Dry Star boot, and they are awesome. They're super tough. There's a little scuffing here, but I mean, these boots are just uncrushable. They have good flexion this way to operate levers, but you can't roll them to the sides because of these this mechanism in here. On both boots, these buckles, which are just part of the armor, the buckles got scuffed up pretty good on both of these, and that's through the pant. Yeah, in fact, there's a hole in the pants that matches up with the buckle on this side. So I don't know, ankles, tibia, fibula, the feet. If I hadn't been wearing solid boots, if I hadn't been wearing any of this stuff, I could have been way more wrecked than I was. You can watch that video where I talk about the accident to learn more about what happened, but I mean, really, I just went wide on a corner at 27 miles an hour, and it really banged up my gear, and I came out okay. So if you're at all considering taking a short ride or a slow ride on dry roads and skimping on the gear because you're feeling confident, please don't just wear all your gear all the time. I hit at a pretty slow speed, and I'm lucky. I'm really lucky to be uninjured. So the bike is in the shop. I've got the estimate for the repair. I'll go through that in another video. I think it's like $7,500 of damage. And while it's getting repaired, I'm going to be doing a lot of meditation on what my motivations for biking are. And we'll talk about whether I'm going to get back on this horse. Anyway, I really appreciate your support, your comments, your likes, your subscribes. Whatever happens, I'm not going anywhere, so please share this video with your friends. And like I said, please, 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 just wear your gear. Anyway, thanks a ton for watching. We'll see you next time.